In 2007, at the height of a severe drought, the Howard government started work on the Murray-Darling Basin Plan that would allow the government to buy water from irrigators and return it to the stricken river system.
Everybody knows that the current arrangements are not working.
But 2 years ago came claims of water theft, irrigators extracting more water than they were entitled to.
You can obviously hear the lift pump working, and obviously down near in the dam you can see the water pumping in.
The scandalous allegations triggered a South Australian Royal Commission. It found Commonwealth officials had acted unlawfully and with gross negligence.
You don't get really a more serious allegation against any government agency.
At the start of this year, right as the findings were handed down, millions of fish started dying in far west New South Wales. In April, the government was under pressure again, this time over a contentious $80 million deal involving a company co-founded by Angus Taylor, now a senior minister. Now the government says an even tougher approach is needed. David Littleproud, welcome to 7:30. You've acknowledged today that one of the reasons you need to create the Office of Inspector General is the crumbling of faith in the way the Murray-Darling Plan is being administered. What powers will the Inspector General have?
Well, this is about maintaining the integrity and confidence in the Basin Plan. What this is about ensuring that we put in place integrity measures through a statutory position that will oversee the compliance and the actions of both the MDBA, the states and the Commonwealth to ensure they enact this plan the way that it was legislated. It'll mean that they have they're able to compel individuals, to compel people to give evidence and then refer them to integrity commissions to make sure that as this plan evolves, as we're getting to a critical juncture of this plan in the delivery of it, and we're going to spend a lot of money in terms of infrastructure to make sure that that's done properly and appropriately, and that the states who have increased their compliance measures make sure that they're done properly in a national way to get trust between states. And that's one of the things that has been lacking, and we've actually got some more trust back over the last 18 months between the states, and this will just build on that and make sure that we deliver the plan as it was legislated and give confidence to the 2.2 million Australians that live up and down the basin.
So essentially it's going to be a body that is sitting on top of all the governments and the Murray-Darling Basin Authority and being a sort of a bird's eye view for communities more than anything else. Presumably this is going to cover both issues of things like water theft on the one hand and looking at the legitimacy and rate of buybacks or infrastructure projects to put water back in the river.
What it'll do is make sure that the states who have lifted their game, and I have to acknowledge them, all the basin states have lifted their game in respect of compliance and in terms of delivery of the plan. What this makes sure is that there's a national body that looks over that, a statutory position that will ensure the integrity of their actions can be held to account by the Australian Parliament and to the Australian people.
Will it be able to look at, shall we say, past wrongs or past questions as well as current ones?
Well, look, I think because of the actions of the states, there are current court cases in place around investigations that have come to light, and all this is doing is making sure that we lift our game right across the states who have lifted their game, make sure they continue to do that, and we call out bad behaviour. This is no different to any other industry or any other program the government comes out with. This is human nature. Unfortunately, there's a few people that wreck it for all, and they try and cut corners. And the states have done their bit in trying to do that, but we want to make sure that all the states trust one another and the nation trusts us in delivering the biggest environmental program in our nation's history.
Will the Inspector General be reporting publicly on a regular basis, or will he or she only be reporting through you?
No, it would be accountable to me as the Minister and the Basin States Minister. We're all in this together. But they'll also give a report to the Australian Parliament, and the Inspector will also appear in front of Senate estimates. This is all about transparency and accountability. This is about making sure people maintain the confidence in what we're trying to do. This isn't a perfect plan, make no mistake. It's the best of what we got. And if we blow this up now, we're going to get a worse plan. The important thing is that we have leadership, not politics, and we work our way through and make sure that there is integrity in the delivery of the biggest environmental program in our nation's history.
Well, speaking of communities, Walgett is in desperate straits. It's now relying on very salty bore water that's posing public health risks. And you've mentioned today that many towns, including in your own electorate, are expected to run out of water by December. What can the federal government do about this in a practical sense?
So obviously we'll work with local and state government, but water management, since our federation, our constitution has been put in place, has always been owned by state governments. We're saying to them, work with local authorities to make sure that human consumption is a priority. And I know in many of those states, both in New South Wales and in Queensland, in my own electorate, they're working collaboratively with local governments to make sure that we do have critical human use under control.
But do you think it'll actually get to the point where the federal government will have to offer assistance for those towns?
Well, we stand
through the
ready.
states?
We stand ready, but let me make this clear. It has always been the responsibility of state governments to be able to manage this. We're not going to run away from it, but we expect state governments to do their job. We've got to question the state governments if they want to run away from every problem. We become an ATM for them too often. The reality is we've all got responsibilities. They should live up to them, but we will never, as a federal government, let communities fall by the wayside, no matter where they are.
Well, finally, just on one other issue, Minister, many Nationals have been expressing support for the need to raise the rate of Newstart, and the party's policy committee has even commissioned its own research. What impact would an increase in the rate of Newstart have on rural communities, do you think?
I think the conversation needs to be about those that are on it for the long term. And in fact, some of that is intergenerational. We need to have a serious conversation about those people that are in that cohort and about how we actually transition them off it. This is something that for many people are only on it for 12 months. We've got to get the balance right about making sure we don't incentivise people to be part of that cohort or that 1/3 that stays on it for too long. But we've also got to be practical about making sure that people can live within a reasonable lifestyle. The balance needs to be done, and I know my colleagues are going away and trying to get some research. If you want to change opinion, you've got to get research and science, but the government's position is quite clear at the moment. We are saying 2/3 of people get offered in 12 months. That's how it should be. We want people to get offered as quickly as we can and get a job. We've got 1.4 million jobs we've created. We're going to double up on that, and that's the best thing a government can do, is create jobs for their people.
Minister, thanks for your time tonight.
Anytime. Great to be with you, Laura.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 730's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.